All right, guys, welcome back. Um, we are finally getting to the point of where fantasy basketball and fantasy football are colliding. And now, people who are in both my fantasy football and fantasy basketball leagues, we will be working on two things at once, basically. Obviously, fantasy basketball is a little bit more difficult because of how it is daily compared to football, where it's just 3 days a week. Um, so we just got done with um, Dynasty Royale's draft today, and then we did Big Baller League's draft last Wednesday. So what I'm gonna be doing now is do desktop, and then I'm gonna open it up. I can go over a week go. We do it pronto. Okay. So let's do draft rate. Right, draft grade. I don't want to do draft rankings. Draft grade. Before I do get to the grading on Big Baller League, I want to just go over all the drafting that went on. Um, as I told you just before in that league, you wouldn't draft that many people. I mean, if you didn't keep as many people as compared to other people, then yeah, you would draft more. But it was a really quick draft, honestly. I didn't draft until the fourth round, and I got Corin Clarkson. So I mean, I feel pretty confident in my team as it is. Um, it was pretty quick. I feel like this was an interesting first pick, Trey Jones. He is destined to go off in San Antonio. I just feel like Bonchero was an easy one, or I mean, at least a rookie, but Trey Jones is pretty young. But I feel like first round, I guess Herbert Jones is interesting. Shet makes sense. Jack went with Benedict, who is the preseason hero so far. The season does start on Tuesday. Um, I'm excited for that. So make sure you guys get your lineup set for the week. If you don't want to do it daily, just hit Yahoo start active players. They'll set the lineup for you. It's pretty easy. Um, what else is there? I'm doing champagne on the airplane. Okay. So I'm not gonna grade any of the Dynasty Royale's teams because I feel like, I mean, there's no point in that. Everyone's team is the same basically as last year's. There's only a couple guys that you drafted. Everyone's team is good. I'm still doing power rankings for both my leagues in the basketball league, so that will come out tomorrow on Monday or Monday, August 17th, because I usually do power rankings before the draft. That was said. Let me make myself a little bigger. Let's see. Let me get my beautiful face open. Um, so yeah, this league, I feel like we got a good group of guys. Brandon decided to exit out last minute before the draft because he had to take care of some things. So we're Brandon Becker. We do have a new guy. I don't know who I found. I mean, I found him in the same place where I found Quincy, um, PJ, I don't know. I never knew this guy's name, bro. Sun Turtle. Where I found this other guy named James that was once this guy's team. Um, I would recommend maybe changing your name again if you want. Just change the style. Let's just not get like the basic names like that. That's just kind of boring to me. Um, and add some photos. It's cool seeing a little decoration to each team because I like a little spice and everything. I don't like the default team names. I just feel like it just makes you feel like you don't really care about the league, and I just want people to be active and put some thought into things. So I just, if you want to change your team name, add a photo, go ahead. Um, if this league's going on year two, um, and I'm excited for it. So obviously power rankings will come out tomorrow with Big Baller League. I think that's all I have to say for that. Um, so for Big Baller League, we did a draft lottery. Um, even though even though there was a winner determined, he did not get the last pick in the draft. There was a draft lottery. It was the same thing as it was last year. Jack McCurdle did actually get the first pick because he had the first pick last year, and I gets the first pick again. Um, so we will start off with his team first. So let me view the draft on my iPad real quick. So Jack drafted first. So he went with Jokic first round. I mean, first pick. I think Jokic has proven season after season that he is a determined first pick. Um, so he went the right way. They did take off power forward eligibility, so I feel like they did that to a lot of people. They took Curry off eligibility for Curry on shooting guard. They added power forward eligibility for Karl Anthony Towns, which is interesting. They took off point guard eligibility for LeBron. Let's see who else is lost in eligibility. I think Darius Garland has shooting guard eligibility at one point. Fred VanVleet has shooting guard eligibility. Who else? Yeah, but I feel like later on this season they'll add some eligibilities for certain players. Just gotta wait and find out. Um, does it add value for certain people? I don't really think so. I feel like power forward center is probably the best, like the biggest value you could have because centers could be really important. Um, I guess for this league, since you only have one center starting point, it wouldn't really matter. So, I mean, because there's not really that many good centers out there in the league, and you would want to fill that center spot. But I feel like Jack did a great job getting Jokic for round one, getting Booker over Garland, Bam, um, Lillard, and Van Vliet, who has finished better compared to Booker. Booker is pretty good. He actually really improved last season. So I feel like maybe Booker was not a reach at all. Um, he did average 44 fantasy points per game, which was a 6 point increase, if I'm correct, from the season before. And he decided to go with the risk for Zion in round three, which is amazing because um, he hasn't played it in over a year. So I can't believe he was actually reached over Bam, who Bam has been going off in the preseason. I believe Bam will have one of the greatest seasons and in the NBA. I feel like he'd be up there with Jokic, especially as a center. Um, I feel like Zion is a very big risky pick, but Jack is there for the risks. Jack has proven me wrong time after time with his draft. Um, and I mean, that's why he's such a good fantasy player. That's why I respect him fantasy wise. And I believe that Jack can probably take, even though this team can totally get overlooked, um, could be a playoff team. It can potentially be in the top four by the end of the season. But Jack did bounce back with Shy, but I feel like I'll have a lot of problems with him because of what the Thunder will do with their players. That's why I kind of was hesitant with OKC players because of how much they want to tank for, of course, Victor Jambalaya. Victor Jambalaya is probably determined to be one of the best players in the NBA for the next 20 years. So it makes sense for the Thunder to tank. Bradley Beal, who has yet to play a full season since maybe 2017. I have no idea when the last time he played a full season. Of course, when he was round two projected, round five makes even more sense to me. I mean, he is such a good player. Um, he had a little bit of a downfall last year, but he's still a good player. Round five is perfect value for him, in my opinion. I feel that's a good steal. RJ Barrett, Chris Middleton, the back and forth right there. I feel like in those mid rounds, those players could be potentially big impact for your team. So I feel like that's good value right there. D'Angelo Russell, Nurkic. If Russell and Nurkic could stay healthy, that's why they fell so low. Is because they couldn't stay healthy. If they could stay healthy, they will potentially, put up at least 35 fantasy points per game. Um, Nurkic it's been really tough for him to stay healthy, and it's just always a question mark with him, especially if Trailblazers are not going to be pushing for the playoffs. They're probably going to start trading people. I don't know if Nurkic has an expiring contract anytime soon, or if I think they just paid him, if I'm correct. But it's a really big question mark for him. But not, round nine is great value for him, obviously. The comeback of Jamal Murray, that's another question mark. I feel like the Nuggets are going to take it very, very slow. As you read this, I feel like uh, is it, yeah, I see Murray's health, which he would tread lightly with Murray's health this season. It's just happening even sooner than we'd hope. So I believe with what they'll do with Murray is that they'll definitely probably rest them back to backs. What the hell is happening to my computer, bro? I'll see that shit. But they'll definitely rest them back to backs in my maybe. I would say it's probably a 50-50 shot they rest them back to backs. Um he might towards the end of the season if they're in good playoff position and they're worried about his health, they'll probably rest him too. Um but I mean round 10 is probably where Jamal Murray would get drafted. Now the last three picks that Jack had, obviously he went with Benedict Mathurin, who's had a pretty good preseason, made a name for himself. I mean, the Pacers are a it's anyone's game in Indiana except for Halliburton, Heald, and Turner. But I think Mathurin could be a potential big name, but you never know because I feel like preseason heroes can turn into nobodies in a span of a month. Tari Eason, I have no idea who this guy was. I didn't even know this guy existed until Jack drafted him. He drafted him in the 11th round. I don't think Jack needed to draft this guy. In my opinion, he could have just went with anyone else. He probably could have drafted Middleton, drafted another guy, put Middleton on the aisle, and then picked up Eason. But I mean, that's just me, I guess. James Wiseman, who has also so okay, here's the thing with Jack's team. He has three players who have yet to play a game in the last 2 years. So, or maybe last year and a half. And that's a big risk for Jack. Jack has a lot of injury prone um like long time players who haven't played in a long time. But like look how many zeros he has. He's a rookie, I'm assuming. He has not played at all last year. He didn't play at all last year. He didn't he like because he's a rookie. He didn't play at all last year. He missed most of the season. He missed most of the season. Um, he missed most of the season right here. He missed like a month, but he's still able to play most of the season. So Jack had a lot of injury prone players. Now, what is going on with him? Like, there's no news on him. Is he not playing? What's going on with Chris Middleton? I never heard anything about his injury. What's going on with it? Middleton injury updates. What's going on with injury update? Oh, he has a torn ligament in his left wrist. When did he get surgery for it? It's unclear where he'll be returned for the playoffs. Um, Ligament, he just got it done, I'm assuming. I'd say he probably missed most of the season, right? Like he returned sometime near the beginning of the season. Okay. So I'd say Jack will have him would be without him for a couple months. And who knows how well they'll treat him. I mean, if he just got surgery, don't that they want to tread light with him as well. So Jack's team, I feel like it could be a good team. It just really depends on everyone's health. And Jack really drafted. I've spent a lot of time with Jack's team for some reason. This is why. For Jack, I'll give him a good grade. I feel like a B minus is a good grade for him. Why is it like that? Why can't all font be like that? What the hell? Yeah, keep it at the title. Okay. So Jack, you get a B minus. I think that might be your highest draft grade in my opinion. I don't know. Okay, round two or pick two. Who would pick two? That would be Eddie Zamora, correct? Yo. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. How did that work? I'm controlling my iPad right now on my computer. How do I get it out? How did I do that? Let me know how I did that. Oh my God. I don't know how I did that. Oh, I did. Okay, I know how I did it. That's amazing. Okay. Okay, so Eddie had the second pick in our league. This is Eddie's second year in the league. This is Jack's, I guess for Big Ball League, it would be his fourth season. This is Eddie's second season. Obviously last year Eddie had a very well, what would you call what are the good words to call what he did last year in the first round of our league? Um, I don't know what you would say, but he did something pretty stupid. And he made up for it this year. I feel like his draft is very solid. He did go very heavy with the Houston Rockets team, but he drafted good players. He didn't draft Tari Eason. Good for him. Um, so Eddie went with Luca. I feel like Luca is a very, very solid pick in my opinion. Uh, Second overall, maybe I feel like Giannis and Joel have better value, but Luca's a very solid pick in my opinion. Donovan Mitchell and uh Bam Adebayo, great. I feel like Donovan Mitchell could potentially be a very good, a very good player for the team. Um, I think both Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are gonna get a lot of points and assists, and it shouldn't hurt his value too much. Bam, I feel like is starting to head towards the prime of his team, like of his career. So third round is a very good value for him. I feel like he's gonna have a really great season. So I would be I'll look out for him. I feel like he'd be a good asset for my team, but you never know. Levine, fourth round, without Lonzo, there needs to be a playmaker. They've been looking at AO, they've been looking at Kobe. I feel like Zach Levine is a better playmaker in my opinion, and he can definitely put the ball in play. And with DeRozan also on the team still, those guys will be splitting the ball 1-2, and they have Vucevic, and they have everyone. I have a pretty stacked team. Jalen Green around five. I mean, he didn't really do much last season, so I guess he could be on the come up. I don't know. I mean, as rookies, you're supposed to progress, so maybe Jalen Green will progress. Sengun is um apparently he's looked at as the only center on the team, so he will get a lot of stats put on him. So sixth round is a good value for him. John Collins and Paulo Banchero. John Collins had a really down year last year, in my opinion. I think Clint Capella really costed him that. But getting him round seven is probably good. I think round five was when he was drafted last year. Round seven's not bad. He's also a returnee for your league or for your team. So he'll put up the same amount for you. Bonchero's probably gonna be a he's in the running for rookie of the year, but usually the first pick is not always rookie of the year, so you never know. Wiggins, Portis, and Smith, I would say, are valued where you drafted them. I feel like they're not bad picks. Um, Smith, Zubac, and Vanderbilt. I mean, anyone on that Jazz team can go off. It really just depends on who takes the charge. So I feel like it's a good risk to take. Overall, I feel like your team's not bad. I don't. Man, I would say Jax is probably a little better in my opinion because Jalen Green, Sengun, I'm not really high on them. Um, Zubac, I mean, he could have a big year, but I feel like 28 points, fantasy points per game is where he'll stay. It seems like you picked up Santi. Who did you drop? Did you drop someone? Did you still have? Oh, you dropped. Oh, you dropped Bobby Portis, didn't you? Huh. That's an interesting drop. Bobby Portis is actually not a bad player to have on your team. He averaged 32 fantasy points per game, and without Chris Middleton, I feel like he would have been a big part of that team still. So I find it interesting how you dropped him. Uh, but I feel like this is easily like a I'd give it probably a C plus, honestly. I don't think it's bad. I mean, I don't know. But C plus is a good grade for it, in my opinion. All right, round three or pick three. Let's see who had pick three. I believe that was Kyrin. This is his first year in the league. Um, he was part of our live draft video. So you got to know him by his like personality wise. He seemed pretty cool. You know what he was doing. Um, so I'm pretty glad he's in the league. He seems like a cool guy. I'm glad Brad found him. He made a really good pick, honestly, in Giannis. Giannis was a killer last year. I think he was like the second best uh fantasy player. Wait, let me check. Hello. So there's Giannis and there's Embiid had but well, okay, so yeah. He is taking the risk on Kawhi Leonard. I do remember a couple years ago or the season before last, Kawhi would actually he didn't. I don't think he did that all the season before. Two years ago, Kawhi would rest back to backs, and I feel like now, ooh, after coming back from an injury and after missing all of last season, I feel like he will definitely miss a game out of those back to backs. But I feel like Kawhi coming back, he will still go off. He is kind of regressing, but he is still a very solid player. I would not sleep on him at all. Darius Garland, third round. I mean, he was a menace last year. He improved so much. I think was he the I can't remember if he was the let's see if I can find my power rankings. Dang, I don't know if I had it. I don't have the That's tough. Oh, oh man. Oh, bro, come on, bro. Fucking up. I don't know how to work the notes. Yeah, it doesn't seem I have the power rankings from last season. That's tough. Because they'd be like right here. Okay, whatever. Um, I think Darius Garland was like most improved fantasy player last year. Man, this is gonna be hard. But I think that was a very solid pick. I believe he will do a lot for you. Just in third round value, I mean that's pretty good. CJ McCollum, that was a guy that I really wanted on my team because he's been on my team for the past 2 years, and he does nothing but ball. It is crazy how good he is. It's tough that I didn't get him on my team, but it's okay. I'll be fine. You also got Brandon Ingram, so you got both the main ball handlers on that Pelicans team. So if they turn out to be really good, you'll get a benefit from both of those players. Tyler Hero just got a bag this season. Um, I feel like it'd be he was a really good fantasy player last year. He was like 10th round value, and you got him in the 6th round last year. Uh, I feel like he could also be potentially a big progress. He have a really good progressive season. Sorry, I cannot speak right now. Anthony Simons, he came out of nowhere after Dame Lillard got hurt. It's round 7 maybe might be honestly. I mean, he could probably be good value. It's just like You just never know if he will be able to repeat that since Dame Lillard is back, but I'm sure he will. Jeremy Grant. So it seems like you have some teammates on here. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like sometimes having teammates is bad, especially with like games wise. Jeremy Grant, I feel like he had a really big down year last year. He was one of my players that I was not looking to get at all, but he could prove me wrong this season. Uh, Ben Simmons, who didn't play at all last year, he's determined to play this year. Um, who knows how many games he will play this year? But getting around nine, I guess, doesn't hurt too bad. But I don't hate it. And I feel like this is where you kind of fell off, getting Mitchell Robinson, Alex Caruso, Monte Morris, and Boyan. It seems like you probably released someone. Alex Caruso. Okay, so it seems like you released Monte Morris and you got Jordan Clarkson, which is all right. Um, I don't know how good Boyan will be on the Pistons with how many people they have on that team. And they'll probably want to go young towards the end of the season. So later on in the year, they probably won't do nothing for you. Mitchell Robinson, uh, he has yet to do anything really at all in his career. And fantasy wise, he has not been good. I guess round 10 makes sense. That's where you got him. I'm hoping Randall does better than him, in my opinion. But I think overall this team is worth like a B. I don't think it's anything serious. Tripping. Okay. Page low. Page low. Kyrin, you get a B. Okay. Who had pick four? Aspen. Okay. All right. This is also Aspen's first year in the league. I recruited him like on one of the last days before draft, and he had the fourth pick. Embiid, I think he was auto drafted a couple of picks, but Embiid was a good pick to auto draft because I believe that Embiid can potentially repeat the year that he had last season. I mean, he was unbelievable. I don't know how he did that well. I mean, it was crazy. One thing about his pick was getting Kyrie at second round. I just don't know if he'll play the full season. He could potentially have a fit and sit out most of the season again. Who knows? But he did really good fantasy wise, averaging 47 points per fantasy points per game. That's crazy. Um, I'm looking at his team. It's very young. Cade, DeAndre, Scotty, Josh, Jordan, Michael, um, Marcus Smart's still pretty young. Those guys are all like really young players. They're all going to be progressed. So looking their average now oh, on here, this can all these players it can increase. Um, you got a lot of pretty good players. I don't see Michael Porter Jr.'s value being that high because of how um he's just he can never stay healthy and I don't know how good of a fantasy player he really is. He hasn't really played a full season in a long, long time. So getting him around eight though is not that bad. I really like Gideon Poole back to back on those. Those are pretty good. Uh, Barnes, is he? I don't know. He's a really good player. 25, 4-4 against Boston. Yeah, Scotty Barnes is pretty good. Round five values appropriate. Aiden, I guess you needed center, so Aiden, Greens, Horford's, Embiid, and Lopez. Makes sense. Is Lopez gonna play a full season? I don't know how good he is fantasy wise anymore. I don't know. Lopez might be cut from you, but just as long as you stay active, get just rotate players who don't do well, and you pick up players from waivers. It could potentially be very, very good for you. But this is a really good young team. I mean, if this was a dynasty, league, your team is set. I don't hate your team at all, actually. You may think it's bad, but I don't hate it at all. I feel like so far it get the highest grade out of everyone else. Just make sure you keep up with it. Um, don't think too far down your team. I feel like your team is very, very good and has a lot of players that could potentially outperform their average from last season. But a B plus, I feel like is very appropriate for this team. So just be prepared to fight for that playoff spot. With the fifth pick, I got Vineel. Um, Vineel, I think auto drafted his first pick. Uh, so he had the top player that was available, and KD was projected third overall. He was not drafted third overall, so he got KD. I really wanted KD on my team. But unfortunately I couldn't get it because y'all guys auto drafted, but that's okay. I'll be okay with that. Um, let's see, let me think. So getting KD and DeJounte, DeJounte had an amazing season last year. He went like 14 points above his average from the season before. Um, of course, he's on this new team. I don't know if he can repeat that, but I feel like having Durant and DeJounte, the Montes Sabonis, um, that's a really impressive team right there. I feel like you really fall off. How does Drew Holiday average 38? Is Drew Holiday that good? Uh, okay, I guess I shouldn't really sleep on him. I feel like the Mikal Bridges in the fifth round was horrible. I don't think he'll have a good season at all. He's not really a good fantasy player, in my opinion. He just gets a lot of defensive stats, and he only stays in like the 25 to 29 fantasy points per game average. Um, Christian Wood, he'll probably be off the bench, but he could be a very effective bench player. I feel like his value will probably go a little down a little bit, but he'll still be pretty good. Jalen Brunson was a waiver wire player last year, but I feel like he got the back for a reason, so he could potentially be a 33 to 36 fantasy points per game player. Just depends on how he performs. Herbert Jones, interesting pick. I don't know why he got. I don't think Herbert Jones would do anything in my opinion. Round eight, bad value. I might go from one of the worst picks. Mikal Bridges, Herbert Jones. I'm probably not going to do so well for your team. Clint Capella, that late. What is going on with Clint Capella? I guess since he had a really big down year last year, it makes sense that his value went down. Um, Gordon Hayward can never ever stay healthy. He'll probably get injured for you. Spencer Dinwiddie will be a reserve role along with Christian Wood. So you really got to rely on these bench players for Dallas to perform. DeAndre Hunter, he can. I mean, he was pretty average last year, but I mean, he could do something. Dylan Brooks was healthy for most of the season, but he was a good player when he was healthy. So I mean, he could potentially be a very good snipe. As your last pick in the drafts. So I mean, that was probably your last two picks. I would say have a lot of value, but Spencer Dinwiddie and Gordon Hayward, Clint Capella, Herbert Jones, Mikal Bridges really bring your grade down. But everyone else is pretty solid. Drew Holiday, I don't know if he'll. I don't know enough about him, but I don't know. Sabonis, Murray, and Durant is probably a really good three pick. Like that's crazy. Did anyone else have that? Joel, Kyrie, Cade, Giannis, Kawhi, Garland. That's pretty good. Three-peat. Luca, Donovan, Bam. That's a good 3-point too. Jokic, Booker, Zion. I think Durant, Murray, and Sabonis is better than that. Your grade, I really think that I really think some of those picks that you made really bring it down a lot. I don't know why it auto corrects to that. It bothers me. Um, I'll do. I really think it's not better than Eddie's team. I think C is the appropriate grade for your draft. Um, you might be fighting for one of the bottom seeds of your playoff of the playoffs, but make sure you really keep up with it. I believe eight eight teams make the playoffs, and no one gets a bye week, obviously. So, all right, who drafted six? Kyle. Kyle's been in the league since I've been in the league. Um, he's always been that guy. It's like he's a really good fantasy player. It's just like he he's a really good regular season player. Playoffs, he gets bounced first round, in my opinion. Um, he didn't auto draft like he did last year. That's why his team's a little bit better than it was last year. In fact, I'm looking at his team right now. He's got a lot of Spurs players. Jesus, there's three Spurs players. It's ridiculous. Kyle is he's always been a pretty good fantasy player. Um, I will not sleep on him. I like his team so far. What I'm seeing. Curry, Tyrese, Halliburton, who is on a new team. He could potentially have 46 fantasy points per game average, in my opinion. Tyrese gets those stats, bro. Curry, I feel like will have a down year. I think 40 fantasy points per game is the correct, uh, is the appropriate value for him. They might rest him a lot too because of how old he's getting, but I'm not gonna sleep on him. AD, he's yet to just stay healthy. He's a very good fantasy player when healthy. Um, when you did have Anthony Davis last time, Kyle, he stayed healthy for you because that was when the Lakers won the championship and he played a lot, like the whole season basically. Jared Allen is a very good, he's a very good fantasy player. I feel like he'll get a big opportunity for the new Donovan Mitchell acquisition. Um, I feel like the same amount of average that he has now is what he'll get. Chris Paul at round five is crazy. I mean, he did so well for the Suns fantasy wise. I feel like he can keep it up there. It just depends on how many assists he gets. Bane, OG, those players. Bane is I mean, he was thought so high this year because who the hell left that team? I can't remember, but Bane was a really good player. I picked him up last year. He performed really well. Of course, now Yahoo's thinking that he's gonna have a really big year this year. I don't know that. I really avoided all the Memphis Grizzlies players because I feel like anyone can go off on that team. OGs though, he's pretty good. Round seven value is very good. Jesus, round seven is very good. That's probably one of your best picks you can make. Kellen Johnson, he's a good player. He just doesn't really make his shots all the time. He has a really bad field goal percentage. But you got Devin Vassell. So if Kellen Johnson does bad, you get Devin Vassell. If Devin Vassell does bad, you got Trey Jones. So you got really you're really invested on the Spurs team. Keegan Murray, I really like this guy. I feel like he did pretty well. Um, it just really depends if he stays healthy or not, I guess. I don't know. I feel like he's an injury prone player. Isaiah Stewart, I don't know what he'll do, honestly. I don't know if he'll stay healthy. I don't even know if he'll be performing in fantasy. And then, whoa, what the heck? Mike Conley, um, I mean, I think for him, he could definitely perform. I think he'll just be resting a lot. So, that's the thing. But overall, I think this team's pretty good. It's definitely in the B area. I think a B, just a solid B, uh, is fine with it. But overall, I think this team would definitely be in the playoffs. It just really depends on AD. Um, it really depends on AD, honestly. B is a very good value for it, in my opinion. All right, who drafted seventh? All right, Jacob. So Jacob pretty much auto drafted his whole team. There were certain points in the draft. If you watched the video, he would pop up and draft a player and then just leave. He did that for Jonas Valanciunas. He did that for Buddy Hield, and he did that for John Wall. Um, he did win the season last year. I feel like it was a big part. I had a big influence on him last year during fantasy basketball, and I was really glad that I could help him out after he was struggling brutally in his past 2 seasons. The season two seasons before, he was struggling mightily, and he needed a lot of help. So I felt bad for him, and I wanted to help him out. And I was really glad to do that because I always pity people who do bad. I was like, should I help him? I guess I should. I gotta help someone out. I can't be the only one that can rule this league. Um, so after he won his championship, I let him loose. He had the chance to draft his own team to really put that like experience to the test. He didn't do it. He let the auto draft do it. So um, he is yet to draft a championship winning team. Auto drafted it for him if he does win again. Um, and with auto draft, they always draft the top player in their rankings. And of course, I'm not looking down at all. Harden, LaMelo, Lillard, George. Those are very solid four players. That is crazy. Harden, he's always a top 10 fantasy player. Is crazy how good he is. LaMelo, he's gonna be a very, very good fantasy player when he comes back. It's really unfortunate that he's missing the first part of the season. If he wasn't missing the first part of the season, he would be on my team. Um, Damian Lillard, he had a really big down year last year. I feel like he can improve it. Um, it just depends on what Blazers will do with him and if he'll stay healthy. Paul George, he was a very, very good fantasy player last year. It was really unfortunate that he missed most of the season. Um, that's why he was drafted so late. But I feel like Paul George could potentially stay healthy. He'll be going off. Back to backs though, might rest. Miles Turner, Kristaps Porzingis, Jonas Valanciunas. I mean, are you kidding me? Those big men are great. I mean, it's crazy how lucky he is with this auto draft. Are you kidding me? It just depends on how healthy they stay. But Jonas Valanciunas played most of the season last year. Kristaps missed most of the season, but um, I mean he's still pretty good fantasy wise. Buddy Hield, I feel like will have a big year this year. It's really his time to shine. Um, Robert Williams obviously is hurt. He's got to put him on the IL. He did good. Um, Brandon Clark. I mean, like I said, those Grizzlies players, you just never know who's gonna be good and who's not. Melon, Lowry, Wall. Uh, Lowry had a big down year for fantasy last year, and Wall's coming back from an injury. I don't know how much he'll do with that Clippers team, but I'll be looking forward to it for him playing with the little brother of Los Angeles. Um, I wouldn't really give Jacob a grade at all since he only drafted two players. So what I'll do is give the auto draft a grade. Autograph. What the hell is autograph? Just give me auto draft. Um, okay. I'm not going to bed yet. Like, leave me alone. Auto draft, I think did a really good job. I feel like that's A minus material, in my opinion, especially for pick seven. The value that he got pick seven, crazy. Auto draft did a great job. All right, pick eight. Pick eight is yours truly. Um, I I never really scouted fantasy basketball because I was so busy with fantasy football. Um, I did some mock drafts to see who I can get and some players I feel like would have a big season this year. And I really got a lot of steals. I got a lot of upside. I got a lot of players who could potentially repeat the same thing that they did last year. They has got to be healthy. Um, Karl Anthony Towns, I believe, is a good pick 8. Like I said, if LaMelo wasn't hurt, he'd be on my team instead. LeBron, I gotta go clear round 2. I mean, he had a crazy season last year. I think he'll definitely repeat it again. Just depends if he'll stay healthy. With AD back, he'll definitely do just as good. DeRozan, Siakam, Rozier. I think those 3 guys will just start carrying my team. They will carry my team. Maxi, Podol, Randall, Kuzma, Westbrook, Porter Jr., Anthony are all players who will have better seasons than they did last year. Westbrook, I feel like could be a problem, but I mean he's a really good fantasy player. He gets a lot of stats. And I'm really hoping he can do that with the bench team for the Lakers. If not, then I mean I got him late, so it's not like it'll hurt me too much. Kuzma, he had a big year last year. I can't be I don't like sleeping on him. I feel like Kuzma could have a big year again this year, so it really just depends on his health because he missed some games. He missed towards the championship. Um, it sucked. Randall, I feel like he's destined for a better year this year. He had a down year last year and he averaged 41 points, fantasy points per game. And I'm saying he's gonna have a better year than he could average what he did before, which was 47 or 46 fantasy points per game. And I'll take that, especially at round 8 value. Cole Anthony, Kevin Porter Jr., Lonzo Ball. I don't know if Lonzo will ever return this season. Don't care if he doesn't. He was my last pick. Cole Anthony, Kevin Porter Jr., I just need them to perform. If they could be 33, 34 fantasy points per game, I'll take it. Um, I really think this team's very, very sharp. I think uh I think in the A area, B plus area is appropriate. But I'm gonna give myself an A. I feel like this is a very solid team. Terry Rozier, obviously, with LaMelo hurt, is Terry Rozier's team. Scary Terry, can't say nothing more about that. Tyrese Maxey, he's up and coming, I believe. I mean, he could be potentially one of the best players on the 76ers, besides with Harden and Embiid. Dude, what the hell is one more nose? But I like it. I like the team a lot, and I like Maxey a lot. I feel like he'll do a lot with that team. Um, Dylan had pick 9. He was also one of the ones that never really scouted fantasy basketball because he was really busy with fantasy football and baseball. Fantasy baseball ended a while ago, so I don't know what he's talking about with that. His value is pretty good. I feel like he kind of fell off towards the end. He just got guys with a lot of upside with low value. But Trae Young, John Morant, Jimmy Butler, Jalen Brown, Nikola Vucevic, solid 5. That's not bad. It's pretty average. Trae Young's always been good in fantasy, so I bet he'll be around there. It just really depends on DeJounte Murray. John Morant, he had a big year last year. He could potentially repeat that. Depends if he'll stay healthy. I think John Morant is one of those guys who can injure himself and be out for a long time. Jimmy Butler will probably cost you late in the season because they like to rest players. I would be worried about him. Jalen Brown, Boston's really, really loaded their team, so I just don't know how good Jalen Brown will be. I feel like he'd be the guy that would be effective. I feel like Tatum would too. That's why I didn't drop Tatum. Vucevic, I think 40 fantasy points per game would be the appropriate value for him. Tobias Harris, I feel like he has a really big downfall. Maybe 20. I feel like 30 fantasy points per game is probably his value, but you got him 6 rounds, so Franz, I mean that Magic team is insanely loaded with players who can do good. Franz Wagner at round 7 is pretty good in my opinion. You never know what could happen to Clay. I just don't think I don't know. I don't know. It's if he shoots the lights out, then yeah, he gets you points, but I don't know how good he'll be. But round 8 obviously is good. Sadiq Bey would probably fall off on the face of earth. I mean, I don't know. There's a big chance that he probably won't do much. Uh, but he's been doing pretty good in the free season, so I wouldn't darn it, honestly. Harrison Barnes, yeah, no, you'll let him go soon. Steven Adams, I just don't know if Steven Adams will do much fantasy wise this season. I feel like he'll be um on the downfall. So I'd be worried about that. Josh Hart, I think he's not doing much this season. He's always a late bloomer in fantasy though, so you never know. Chris Duarte, all I gotta say is good luck with him because I don't know what with any of these like Magic, Spurs, Pacers, you just don't know if um unless it's like a player that's really sticking out. Like for Pistons, there's Cade Cunningham. For the Magic, there's Wendell Carter Jr. For the Spurs, Jakob Poeltl. Pacers, there's Tyrese Halliburton. Like for those players, they'll go off. For all the other players, it's like a hit or miss, basically. And that's what Chris Duarte is. That's what Josh Hart is. That's what Harrison Barnes is. That's what Sadiq Bey is. Um, Franz Wagner could be that too. Klay Thompson could be a hit or miss guy. But he's on a loaded team. So I don't know if he's really in that vicinity of that section. Um, I think overall this team's not that bad. I mean, I mean, I feel like you'd be fighting for a playoff spot. Forget about the fonts. I like the title. I'd probably give it a B minus. Um, I don't hate your team, but I mean, I don't think anyone has a plain old like bad team. I mean, I don't hate anyone's team honestly, so don't feel too bad. All right, with the last pick, we had Brad. Brad's always that guy who is kind of like Jacob with the 10 pages in his journal of who would pick up and stuff. I think that's Brad with basketball. And I find it interesting how Anthony Edwards is first round material. I mean he could probably have a really big up and coming year. But I feel like the thing is that the Timberwolves are a very stacked team. It could be very hard for him to get stats. But I mean he'll be playing a lot. So Tatum is I mean he always plays on stacked teams. He always gets stats. It doesn't matter with him. Fred VanVleet, I honestly should have gone round three, in my opinion. I'm kind of mad. Where did I get him? I got DeMar over Fred VanVleet. Who did better, in my opinion? So Fred got 42 fantasy points per game. DeMar got hello. Yeah. Okay, now my thing's not loading. How much did DeMar get? DeMar got 42. Oh, so they averaged the same thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter if I got for or DeMar. It just really depends on who's going to perform this season. I feel like they're both on equally stacked teams, so either or could have been the correct answer. Um, yeah, Mobley, who's I think destined to be great this season. Wendell, Rudy, I feel like have a big downfall. I mean, he might get a lot of rebounds and blocks, but that could be it. I don't know how good he'll be. De'Aaron Fox is a good guard. He's always good. He's always relevant in fantasy. He gets you good stats. Um, PJ Washington, Colin Sexton, Gary Trent Jr. Those are just going to be your rotation guys. I don't know how much they'll do for you, honestly. Um, I wouldn't really think too much of it, in my opinion. But you did get them late, so I don't know. PJ Washington, I mean, he's always been that guy who plays, and when he's given the opportunity, he doesn't perform. That could happen again. No clue. Just saying. You got he did pick up Jaren Jackson Jr., who is very good. He's a very good fantasy player. He just doesn't stay healthy. Lauri Markkinen, I feel like, is that guy for Utah. Um, that's a good pick, honestly. Round 11. Ooh, that could be the steal of the draft. Joshua Primo. Let's see how good he does. 23, 4, 1 block. Could be another guy. Um, not bad value. Bones Highland, I feel like I don't really see him doing much. I think they're just letting him play in the preseason, and that's without Jamal. So okay, so with Jamal Murray sideline, Highland he didn't even start. Highland didn't get to start, but he was still incredibly productive. Um, I don't know. He could prove me wrong though, but you did get him around 12, so it's not like it matters. But it seems not bad. Gary Trent Jr. He always performs in fantasy, get you that 30 piece. Um, I think for the final grade, it's easy enough to give you like a B. This is a very good B team, you know. Like I'm not too scared of you to play you, but overall, I feel like it's anyone's game. I mean, anyone. There's not really that one team that can like totally like kill someone over and over week by week. Um, I really like everyone's team. No one has a bad team. It just really depends on injuries and stuff. But it's anyone's league, so I feel like everyone should try for it. Don't think your team's bad because everyone's team is good. Um, so for Brad's league, in my league as well, you get 4 pickups a week. So starting Tuesday, if you start picking up players, it counts towards that. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Um, does it not say that? It's Tuesday. Hold on. I guess it doesn't say anything, but on your phone it'll say like pickups like 0 out of 4 ads used this week. There's a limit to that. So starting Tuesday, that will count towards your ads. And so you gotta be wise on who you pick up and who you drop. Um, Usually they like reset like the games or the pickups are able to be used during like 2 a.m. every night, every morning, every night, every morning. Just depends. But everyone, good luck this season. Everyone has a chance to potentially be a fantasy winner this year. It's anyone's year. Um, and shit, not much more to say, but good luck and thanks for a great draft. Hope you all enjoyed the video.